In the gripping opening of this tale, a husband's world shattered when a video revealed his wife, masked as a white rabbit, entwined with a mysterious figure called the Stag on a clandestine stage. The betrayal unraveled their 7-year marriage, exposing her manipulation by a predatory colleague. To save their bond, she surrendered to a contract of servitude, enduring trials of pain, service, and exposure to prove her devotion. Yet, his heart remained torn between love and rage. In part 2, their fragile dynamic deepened as she begged to continue, offering herself fully to reclaim their future. Struggling to lead, he sought guidance, finding hope in a message from Mistress Violet, leader of the secretive Hellfire Club, who promised to guide them through their pain. Now, as shadows loom larger, what new trials await this fractured couple? Prepare for part 3, where trust is tested, secrets deepen, and the path to redemption grows ever more treacherous. Chapter 6. Mistress Violet, Peter. Even though I hadn't slept well, I woke up early in the morning. I looked at the clock on my bedside table. It was 7:04 a.m. I had less than 3 hours before my call with Mistress Violet. I sat up slowly and stretched, feeling a nice crack in my back between my shoulder blades. I saw Daphne lying on the floor, wrapped in blankets and pillows. Morning light showed her olive skin and made the small rings she wore shine. I felt a mix of strong feelings, both attraction and discomfort. I pushed those feelings away and got out of bed, heading to the bathroom. 3 hours. I was nervous but hopeful. Mostly I knew I had to make a good first impression. How should I get ready to meet the leader of this secret club that had suddenly come into my life? I decided to treat it like a meeting with important people, calm, clear, and confident, but not stiff. I took a quick shower and wrapped a towel around my waist after drying off. Then I stood by the sink to shave. Suddenly I heard the doorknob move. I looked in the mirror and saw Daphne hesitating at the door. She wasn't sure if she should come in or say something. I broke the silence. "Good morning, Daphne. Please come in and sit. We need to talk." She came inside quietly, her head down and hands folded. She walked to her side of the bathroom and knelt on the cold tile floor, keeping her back straight and her hands resting on her bare legs. Just a few weeks ago, this would have felt strange, but now she looked calm and proper. I could tell she was nervous, though. With half my face still covered with shaving foam, I said as I shaved, "Thanks for last night." I didn't know what else to say. Other thoughts were too hard and confusing to speak out loud. I thought, "I'm sorry I didn't let you come closer. You are the most beautiful person I've seen, but looking at you makes me uncomfortable. I feel both hate and love, and I hate that I care." "You're welcome, sir," she said softly. "Late last night I got an email from Mistress Violet. We will have a video call today at 10 a.m. I'll take the call in my office. You'll be on your own this morning. I'll see you after." Daphne nodded and watched me finish shaving. I rinsed my face and grabbed a towel. She had quietly stood and moved behind me. I turned to look at her and leaned back against the counter. The towel around my waist was the only thing between us. For a moment, I wanted to reach out and pull her close. I wanted to reach out to her, but at the same time, I wanted to walk away and never look back. The feeling of being torn was hard to bear. I needed to clear my mind quickly. She took a small step closer and lifted her hand just a little. Her eyes glanced down at the towel wrapped around me, then back up to my face. I saw the same eager look she had last night when she asked, "May I please serve you?" It was a look that said, "I will do anything you ask." But it also came with a weight I wasn't ready to carry. Part of me wanted to vent my anger on her, and she seemed ready to accept it. But then hopefully she would realize and walk away. I remembered an email from Mistress Violet that said, "You don't need to punish her. You need to guide her." "Go ahead. I need to get dressed," I said quietly. She nodded and gently closed the door behind her. I breathed out slowly. Maybe Mistress Violet could help Daphne. Maybe she could stop this slave behavior and help us find some peace again. At first, that's what I thought. But then I thought more. I realized I wasn't sure I really wanted things to go back to how they were. Things hadn't been good before all this. Daphne had been unfaithful, yes, but we had also been growing apart. I couldn't tell if the affair caused the distance or if the distance caused the affair. After putting on deodorant and a little cologne, I wiped the mirror with my towel to clear the fog. I looked into my own eyes. I forced myself to look closely, to really see. Things will never go back to normal, I realized. The thought sank in deeply. The closer this moment came, the clearer it was what I truly wanted, what I really needed. I needed Mistress Violet to help me. I didn't know exactly how, but I was tired of feeling nervous every time I saw Daphne. I was tired of loving her, but also feeling upset with myself. I wanted to trust my feelings again when I was around her. I didn't want to keep struggling just to hold myself back. I wanted someone to say, "Here's how you both move forward." And I wanted that person to be right. I put on my best white shirt and a light gray suit. Since I mostly worked from home, I didn't wear formal clothes much anymore. My shirt was bright white and a little stiff from the cleaners. Inside the collar, my initials were sewn in. I had ordered those fancy shirts online and thought, why not? The suit was light wool with a small check pattern. I remembered buying it with Daphne. I didn't wear a tie. If I were meeting an important client or investor, this was the kind of outfit to make me feel strong and sure. Dressing the part helped a little, but I still felt uneasy. What should a queen dame be like? Mistress Violet's email was confident, warm, and kind, but something about her mention of other consequences made me hesitate. I thought about how Madeline, a strong and a little scary woman, talked about her with a mix of respect and wonder. Everyone respects her, most like her. Some are afraid of her, but all listen to her, Madeline had said. What kind of person made Madeline feel like that? I realized I didn't know what to expect. I felt nervous, like when you wait outside a courtroom before meeting a strict judge. I had no choice but to prepare myself and wait. I closed my office door and sat in front of my laptop, my heart beating fast. I didn't want to make any mistakes at the start, so I checked my camera and microphone before joining the call. At 9:55 a.m. I joined, not wanting to be late. The screen flickered, and there she was, Mistress Violet. She sat calmly in front of a cream-colored wall. Behind her hung a simple black and gold painting. The camera showed her from the waist up. The first thing that caught my eye was how straight and confident she sat. She wore a dark blue silk blouse. The soft fabric fell smoothly around her. She had a beautiful purple and diamond necklace resting near her neck. Her diamond earrings shone quietly. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, showing off her face's sharp lines. Her face was stunning. Her skin was smooth and pale. She had high cheekbones and a small, turned-up nose. Her lips were painted in a soft, deep red color, but it was her eyes that grabbed me. They were violet, just like Elizabeth Taylor's. I had never seen eyes like hers before. When our eyes met, it felt impossible to look away. She looked at me calmly, her face serious but with a little hint of a smile. She was probably a few years older than me, maybe in her late 30s, but how she carried herself made age seem unimportant. This woman was in charge and proud to be so. I swallowed hard. Even though I was sitting alone at home, I felt the urge to sit up straighter under her watchful gaze. Mistress Violet gave off quiet power mixed with a calm sense of control. It was in the slight tilt of her head, the relaxed but strong way she held her shoulders, and the small smile that felt both friendly and confident. In that moment, I understood why everyone spoke of her with respect. I also knew that I would carefully listen to everything she said. I realized I had been staring silently. "Good morning," I said softly. My voice sounded quieter than usual. I cleared my throat and added, "Mistress Violet, thank you for meeting with me." Her smile grew a little. "Good morning, Peter. It's nice to finally talk with you." Her voice was calm and smooth, but also warm. She sounded American, but it was hard to tell exactly where she was from. "Please, just call me Violet, at least when we're alone. I'm not your boss. I'm here to help you." The word help felt kind, but I knew she was in control of this talk. I nodded. "Okay, Violet." Saying her name felt a bit bold and close, but she smiled like she liked it. "I'm glad you're on time," she said. "It shows me you want to take this seriously. That's good." She folded her hands in her lap. I noticed a ring on her finger, a shiny metal one with a big red stone. Before we start, let me tell you more about myself. I know Madeline told you a bit and you read my email, but it's important to know the full story. I found myself leaning forward, drawn in by her clear, steady way of speaking. My name is Violet, she said. I started the Hellfire Club almost 10 years ago. It is a safe place. A place for people like Daphne, actually. Her eyes softened briefly when she said that name. Our goal has always been to give people who want to follow others a protected space where they can feel safe. We also teach those who lead how to do it with care, not cruelty or selfishness. I have a PhD in psychology, and I worked with people who had tough pasts. My research was about how people exchange control and use special ceremonies in their relationships. Now I run the Hellfire Club, and sometimes I work as a counselor, helping members deal with hard parts of relationships like the one you are in. She spoke with passion, her words steady and calm. I let out a slow breath. Club founder, psychologist, counselor, and so young. This amazing woman knew how to understand and help someone like me. But she said all this as if it were normal. Like it was no surprise she was the leader of a unique club and a doctor at the same time. Her clothes showed she was well off. She was smart, sure of herself, wealthy, and in charge. No wonder Madeline called her the queen. I felt both respect and relief. I was with someone who could really help. Violet went on, her voice even. Just so you know, I wasn't always the leader. I spent years following someone else before I freed myself, someone who used rules and ceremonies to hide how unkind they really were. A man who liked to hurt me, a man who tried to break me. She looked away for a moment, took a deep breath, then looked back at me. When I finally found the strength to leave him for good, I promised myself I would use what I learned to help others avoid the same pain. I understand both sides very well. I know what it feels like to be hurt and what it means to be in charge. I've been where Daphne is in some ways, and I've been where you are. I stared at the screen. This was a lot to take in. Violet's story was my biggest fear about Daphne. Here was a smart woman who suffered under someone not worthy of her and then broke free. If I turned out to be unworthy, Daphne would leave me too. I swallowed hard and without thinking asked, "How was he unworthy? Why did you leave?" Violet nodded and took a small sip from a fine teacup. Like I said, he was cruel. He liked to hurt me. Violet stood up. She wore cream-colored pants that fit high on her waist with soft folds at the front. She hooked her thumb in the waistband and pulled the fabric down a bit at her hip. I saw a rough red scar just below her hip bone. It was about 3 inches long and a little uneven. The skin was raised there, showing a wound that should have been cared for but wasn't. Near the scar was a small tattoo about the same size, a simple grid with a small rose in the middle. Lines and shapes spread out from the rose like a little star. As Violet pulled her pants back up, I saw a flash of white fabric. She sat down again and said, "After the night he hurt me like this, I saw who he really was. I trusted him, but he broke that trust and left me hurt. He did other things that night that left scars you can't see." She spoke calmly, showing she had faced this pain before and no longer let it control her. "You also saw the club's symbol," she said. "I believe healing comes when you take back your power. Starting the club with others helped me do that. I'm proud many people wear this sign now." She studied me, then said, "You asked that question because you're scared you might be an unworthy master. Tell me why you think that." It was not a polite question, but a serious one. I thought for a moment. Of course I was unworthy. I had been asking a work AI for advice on control. I had no real idea what I was doing, and I was so angry. "Violet, I don't even know where to begin. I'm making this up as I go. Just last month I thought I was in a normal marriage. Now I have a list of rules for my wife made by an AI stuck on my fridge." "I'm just so angry," I said with a heavy sigh. "I'm scared I might hurt Daphne. Even though she was unfaithful, I worry that if I lose control, she'll leave me, and maybe I will deserve it." Violet gave me a soft smile. "It's okay to feel that way. Anyone in charge should be careful not to go too far. But let's pause on that for now. I brought this up to show you I understand. I know what it's like to be taken advantage of when you trust the wrong person. I also know how hard it can be to lead someone without really knowing what that means or how to do it right. And because I failed to protect someone in my club who needed help, I want to guide you, both you and Daphne." "Failing?" I found it hard to think she could fail at anything. I just nodded. Her voice became firm. I want to start by talking about what happened to Daphne at the club. Her jaw tightened. You need to know that I'm very upset about what Todd Whitmore did to your wife and to you. She said his name with disgust. I'm shocked and ashamed this all happened while I was in charge. I saw the anger in her violet eyes. She was calm, but beneath that calm was strong feeling. I sat up straight. At the Hellfire Club, we have strict rules, Violet said. Rules meant to stop exactly what Daphne went through. This should never have happened. We are still checking to find out all the details about what Whitmore did. But here's what we know so far. He lied to everyone. We know he brought her in through a side exit and submitted a false plan, using the name of a club member he'd worked with before, along with her confirmed approval. We think he took her password and club key when she refused to work with him again. Because of this, everyone there believed Daphne agreed to everything ahead of time. But in truth, she probably didn't know where she was or what was happening at this event. She paused and raised a hand. Now, I want to be clear. Daphne had some responsibility too. There's no sign she was drugged or forced. I've watched all the videos from that night. She seemed sober and took part fully before, during, and after the event. Still, she was badly taken advantage of. I could only say, videos? Yes, Violet answered. There are cameras in the common areas of the club. All the events are recorded to protect everyone involved. This helps us check that the agreed plans were followed. The videos are stored securely and are only shared if all involved give their real permission. Whitmore used the same stolen password and club token again to get the recording a week later. You know what happened after that? She looked upset. My stomach tightened even though I had already heard some of this before. Daphne had told me bits over the past week, but I hadn't asked much because I didn't want to know. Madeline was very angry at what Whitmore had done, but finding out he had sneaked her in through an emergency exit, faked papers, and turned my wife into an unwanted show made me furious. I don't think she knew about the video before Whitmore sent it to me, I said quietly. I tried to pay attention as Violet kept talking. Her face softened. I believe that. She was hurt in this, Peter, in many ways. She rested her fingers under her chin. Whitmore's actions that night broke every rule of our club and went against all the values we stand for. What he did to Daphne, she paused, her lips pressing together, was not about control. It was disrespect of her body, of your trust, of the safe place I built. Then he used a video that was meant to protect Daphne to hurt both of you. My club became a tool for the kind of cruelty I ran away from. I saw tears gather in her eyes. I could tell this meant a lot to her. The Hellfire Club was more than just a place. It was how she rebuilt her life after her own hard times. Whitmore had ruined that. I want you to know, Violet said, leaning in, he will face serious consequences. Her voice stayed quiet, but her words held a strong promise. As of last night, Todd Whitmore was kicked out of the Hellfire Club. For good. He can't come to any related events either. And this is just the beginning. She spoke sharply, making it clear I shouldn't ask more questions. I realized I was holding my breath. Whitmore had not only broken my life, but had also put Daphne's career and safety at risk. The thought that he would be punished was both hard to take and somehow satisfying. I breathed out slowly. Thank you, I said softly. I wasn't sure if I was thanking her for making Whitmore pay or just for taking this so seriously. Violet nodded. You don't need to thank me. This is my duty. I failed to keep your wife safe when she came into my club. I plan to fix that, as much as I can. She let those words hang for a moment and then added, but enough about Whitmore. He's being dealt with. Today my attention is on you and Daphne. I nodded, my heart still pounding. I hadn't realized how much worry I was holding inside about Whitmore getting away with it. Knowing he wouldn't, that Violet was making sure of it, was a big relief. And a bit frightening, too. Madeline said that the Hellfire Club was more than just a place for events in New York City. She told me most members both respect and fear her, and that everyone follows her rules. I wondered what kind of power this gave Violet. What could she do with it? What plans did she have for Daphne and me? I pushed those thoughts away and kept listening. I learned from Madeline that after everything, you and Daphne are trying to fix your broken marriage by accepting her full-time submission. Master and servant, Violet said quietly. Her violet eyes looked at me strongly. I felt a little warm in my face. Hearing her say master and servant so plainly made it sound either very serious or a bit silly. Maybe both. My voice sounded dry. Yes, that's right, I said. Daphne asked me to take her back as my servant, and I agreed. A small smile showed on Violet's face. And now you are just making things up as you go, she said, repeating my words. You mentioned using an AI like it was a bad thing. Actually, asking for help is a good thing. I gave a soft, shy laugh. Except for the part where she walked without clothes, which could have caused legal problems or upset people who didn't agree. I think you've done well so far. A written servant agreement, a few new rules, offering a servant with permission, and clear boundaries you both agreed on. You have good sense for someone new at this, Violet said, smiling more openly this time. But starting with those new rules and permission on the first day, you didn't hold back, did you? I wasn't sure how to answer. Was she proud or surprised? I decided to be honest. I didn't really know what I was doing. I shook my head. I wanted to see if she was serious, to test her limits. And maybe to make her feel a little of your pain, Violet said softly, to help her understand what you went through. My throat felt tight. I looked down, unable to meet her strong eyes for long. Yes, I whispered. That too. Violet didn't sound upset, but saying it made me feel rough, like the person who caused a painful scar. She nodded as if that were normal. I understand. She took a moment before she spoke again. I'll be honest with you, Peter. What you and Daphne are trying healing after a big problem while changing how you relate to each other is very hard. It's not unknown, but it's rare. In my time at Hellfire, I've seen maybe 3 couples do something like this. In 2 cases, it was the husband who made a mistake and later became more caring, and the third was a couple with their own special challenges. The journey was always tough. She looked at me straight, making sure I understood her, then took another sip of her tea and kept talking. Overcoming betrayal in a marriage is hard enough. Adding a master-slave relationship on top of that makes it even more difficult. You feel heavy with anger and hurt. She feels guilty. Both of you feel shame and have to figure out how this new dynamic fits on top of what used to be an equal relationship. Many things can go wrong. A knot of worry tightened in my stomach. Daphne and I had been struggling through this for 5 days, going through waves of anger, sadness, and confusion without a clear way forward. Hearing Violet say this path was risky made me wonder if we were fooling ourselves. I thought so, I said quietly. I kept wondering last week if we were just delaying the inevitable end. Violet's voice was kind. I'm not saying it's impossible. If I believed it was hopeless, I wouldn't be here. She leaned forward a little, and I found myself doing the same. I do believe the 2 of you have a real chance. You wouldn't have come this far if you didn't both really want to try. Daphne, by giving so much of herself to you. And you, by being ready to accept that, even though it hurts. Despite myself, I felt a small spark of pride, maybe hope, rise inside me. We had made it through a very hard week without falling apart. Maybe that meant something. But I want to change how you think about this, Violet said, her voice turning serious. Your marriage has broken. That is true. The question is what, if anything, will take its place. What I can give you, she said, is support and guidance. The Hellfire Club has knowledge and ways to help you take what you are doing and make it last. As I told you, love and courage alone won't be enough. In my experience, you need a plan to rebuild trust and balance. Rituals, limits, rules. You saw the club's motto at the end of my email. Structure is love made visible. I believe that is the heart of any caring relationship, not just one like yours or inside the club. By making rules and traditions and setting clear expectations, you both can actually see and trust your relationship. You've already started making a new structure on your own. I want to help you make it last. Structure is love made visible. I thought about the simple rules I had given Daphne, asking her to stay in the house without clothes, to wear heels, to let me check on her. And Daphne had accepted them. We were already trying to build something new. What Violet talked about sounded like taking that much further with the help of experience. How would that work exactly? I asked, hearing the hope in my own voice. Violet gave me a small, happy smile. I had the feeling she liked my question. Here is what I suggest, Peter, she said. I want to guide you and Daphne for the next 5 months. Think of it as a training program made just for you both. During that time, I will teach you the main ideas our club is based on. How to create a safe and respectful space for your relationship. How to talk and set limits. How to use real power in a careful way, and how to accept it without losing yourself. She raised her hand, touching her fingers one by one as she spoke. In practice, this means regular meetings, video calls like this, maybe once a week. I will give you exercises and special tasks to do together. Some will be daily habits. Others will be weekly tasks or challenges to face specific fears or issues I notice. There will be a kind of plan. I raised my eyebrows. A plan? She laughed softly. Don't worry, no written tests. But anyone who finishes law school probably likes to learn. What I mean is, I have a clear order in mind. Steps you will follow, skills you will work on. For example, we might start with simple exercises on listening and talking, with rituals to help you stay connected every day. Later, we will try deeper work, guided talks or tasks for Daphne to face her guilt, and for you to face your anger, and of course special training to help you both feel close and comfortable based on your roles in the relationship. Special training. The words gave me a strange but not bad feeling. Still, part of me couldn't believe this was really happening. A sad lawyer and husband being calmly guided by a confident woman to learn how to help his wife and himself grow. If someone had told me this a month ago, I would have laughed. But now, I was fully ready to try. Violet went on. During all this, I will be here for you when you need me. Think of me as part guide, part counselor. I will speak to Daphne as I do with others who join our club, but to you I will be a mentor and I hope a friend. You will have tasks, and you will update me on how things are going. I expect both of you to be honest and put in effort. Yes, I said quickly. Of course. We won't do things halfway. That's not how we are. I realized I was almost interrupting and stopped, feeling a little embarrassed. But Violet looked happy with my answer. Good, she said with a nod. Now, the important part, the goal. After 5 months, if you and Daphne feel this path is right for you and want to keep going, I will invite you to join the Hellfire Club as full members if you choose, she said. I caught my breath. Join the club? The place where all of this began? I wasn't sure how I felt about that. Violet must have noticed my doubt because she raised her hand to reassure me. Joining is completely your choice, she said. There's no pressure. I just want you to know the option is there. If this way of life really becomes a part of you both, being with people who understand can mean a lot. You'll have support, safe events you can go to if you want, lots of resources I can't fit into just 5 months of lessons. A kind of family in a way. Her smile softened, almost warm like a mother's. Hellfire is like a family, in its own special way. Then her face grew a little sad again. At least that's what it's meant to be. I thought of Madeline and how kindly she had asked me to accept Violet's help. The way she spoke with respect about the club and Violet, a group of people who are alike. I realized how alone I had felt this week. I couldn't just talk about my unusual setup with friends over a drink. The thought of others out there like us, who wouldn't find our story strange, was quietly appealing. If, Violet said softly, you finish the program and decide it's not for you, there will be no hard feelings. You can take what you learned, thank us, and walk away to fix things your own way. If that happens, I only ask that you return any materials we gave you and leave as friends. The club isn't some cult. You don't owe us anything. Is that clear? Yes, clear, I said. I liked that she wasn't pushing us to join some secret group, though now, not continuing with her help felt a bit like having a lifeboat and saying, no thanks, I'll swim. One more thing, Violet added. If you do decide to join, you won't have to pay the usual fees. The club's entry fee is normally quite high, but you will be fully sponsored. It'll also make sure you're ready for the entrance trials when that time comes. But that's something for far in the future. Right now, my main goal is to help you both heal, not to sell you a membership. I laughed softly. I'm a tough one to convince. You should see me say no to vacation offers. I guess quite high is an understatement. So thank you for your kindness. She gave a small smile. After everything that's happened, it's the least the club and I can do for you. Anyway, I think once you see what the club offers, you will want to stay. The fact that we're talking like this shows you might be the kind of person who belongs here. Could we really be people who join a special club? Maybe Daphne was. She'd already been there. And Daphne had reached out to me without hesitation, but I was still holding back a lot. Violet seemed to notice the struggle on my face. She tilted her head. You're unsure. No, I want this, I hurried to say. I took a deep breath. Her request for honesty repeated in my mind. Don't hold back. I'm scared that I can't do what you're talking about, that I can't fully take on the role I'm supposed to. You're afraid you will fail as the master, Violet finished for me, her voice calm. The role of a strong husband to a wife who hurt you and feels sorry. I sighed and nodded at her honest words. Exactly. She looked at me in a calm way. It's normal to doubt yourself. In fact, because of what you've said and how you've acted in this talk, I can tell you're a good man, Peter, a logical man. You didn't ask for any of this. It was forced on you because of what Daphne did. You've had to react and make things up as you go, while feeling pain. Of course you don't feel like a perfect master. Why would you? You've had no time or training. You are as new to being dominant as Daphne is to being submissive. Both of you are learning, even though you love each other deeply and want this to work. Hearing that felt good. Once more, I felt understood in a way I hadn't in a long time. Right again. A soft kindness came into her eyes. Let me help you see this better. She leaned forward, folding her arms on her desk, coming a bit closer on my screen. You said you don't know if you can fully take on the role. Let's talk about that. What feels like your biggest problem right now as Daphne's potential master? I opened my mouth but stopped. My biggest problem. There were many. My sadness, my anger, my doubt. The ugly images of her betrayal stuck in my mind, the way I loved and hated her all at once. How could I put all that into words? I'm still very angry with her, I said slowly. And hurt, of course. But at the same time, I still love her, and she's trying so hard to make things right. Honestly, she's been a perfect helper this week. I remembered Daphne's recent actions, kneeling quietly for me, following every rule I gave, taking hard feelings without complaint. She's doing everything right, everything I ask, but I feel like I'm pretending, like I'm a fake. I also find it hard to accept this new slave Daphne as the same woman I've known for 10 years, the smart, confident woman who was always more successful than me. Violet nodded, paying close attention. So one problem is how your feelings are all over the place. You're hurt and angry, but her way of showing she cares makes you feel close to her again. That mix is tough to handle, and part of you feels like her behavior isn't completely real. Exactly, I said with a sigh. One moment I'm mad at her for what she did. The next I feel proud of how far she's willing to go for me. Then I see how she acts and looks, and I'm more drawn to her than ever before, but then I remember her betrayal and I feel sick inside. My mind is such a mess. She gave a small smile. That makes sense. Love and anger can mix into a wild feeling, but they can exist together for a while as you try to figure things out. Tell me more about the fight inside you between wanting her close and feeling disgusted. Be honest, how is your relationship with her now? I bit my lip. In terms of being close, things between us are not good. Can you explain? Violet asked softly but clearly. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. It wasn't like she wouldn't understand, but it was hard to say. I haven't been close with her in the usual way. Not since I found out. I just can't do it. She did try to be close with me in other ways a couple of times, but as the week went by, that fight between wanting and feeling sick got worse. Last night she asked to show she cared for me, but when it got too much for me, I pushed her away and ran to the bathroom. There was a pause. Then Violet spoke with a softer voice. You haven't been able to be close in that way because every time you get near her, you think about him. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. I nodded, swallowing hard. I see him with her. I see everything. Whenever I close my eyes and try, I get these terrible images. Her doing things with him on that stage. I can't stop seeing it, the humiliation, the closeness they shared. My wife with another man. It makes me shudder. I just can't get it out of my head. I understand, Violet said gently. It's a painful memory he left with you. I opened my eyes, blinking back tears. I didn't want to break down in front of this woman. I swallowed hard and cleared my throat. The worst part is, I said in a shaky voice, some part of me can't stop thinking about that video. I forced myself to say it, feeling disgusted. I hate what she did, what she let him do to her, and yet I keep picturing it. And it affects me in a way I don't like. What kind of man does that make me? I don't even know myself anymore. My words hung heavy in the air, raw and painful. There it was my deepest shame said out loud to a stranger. My cheeks felt hot. I thought Violet might judge me for still feeling this way about what happened to my wife. But she didn't. Instead, her face grew soft, showing something like kindness. It makes you human, Peter, she said quietly. People are made to respond to things, even when those things hurt. Your body and your feelings don't always match. You can hate that it affects you, but you can't just stop it. And feeling this way doesn't mean you agree with what happened, or that it makes the pain any less real. It just means you're complicated, like all of us. She paused and took another sip of her tea. I believe you when you say you feel both upset and confused by the idea of Daphne with Whitmore, but humor me, Peter. On your first day as her partner in control, you asked her to be with Madeline. Why did you do that? I sighed. I'd thought about that too. Why? I think it was because I wanted her to obey me, to show that she would do what I asked. To hurt her a little? To shame her? Violet asked. Yes, and I thought it would be worse because of how Daphne grew up. Her mother is strict and doesn't accept people who are different. She was very hard on Daphne's sister Rachel when Rachel dated women, and only stopped when Rachel married a man. So it was a test and a kind of punishment. But of all the things you could have done, you put her in another difficult situation. Days after deciding to end your marriage because of betrayal, you asked her to be with someone else again. I had no answer for that. Violet was right. Peter, I think I already know the reason, but I want to hear if you do. That choice tells you something, doesn't it? You aren't really against Daphne being with others. Violet raised her teacup and looked at me softly over the edge. I took a shaky breath. Her gentle question helped me loosen a knot inside me that I hadn't noticed before. I guess I'm not, at least not all the time. I felt shame rising again. Thank you for being honest, Peter. I think what really bothers you is the lying and not being in control. If you were the one deciding Daphne's choices, I bet you wouldn't feel haunted by that video like you do now. But her lies and the way she gave control to someone she shouldn't have ruined the trust you thought was there. She leaned back a little and took a calm breath. When she spoke again, her voice was clear and steady. I need you to listen carefully. I've said this a few times during our talk. Your wife was not honest with you. Your marriage has ended. Say it out loud and believe it. My wife was not honest with me. My marriage has ended. I repeated like a student following the teacher. Open relationships are common in the club, but that is not what happened with you. Your wife was not honest with you, and because of that, your marriage ended. I said it again. My wife was not honest with me. I ended my marriage because of that. Right. Now the question is if your relationship will change into something new. The woman who found you and agreed to this did not come to you as your wife. She came as property asking you to take responsibility for her. Remember this. In our world, a person in this role deserves love and respect and must always be protected, but she is still considered property. Say it. Daphne is my property, and I must respect and protect her. With more confidence, I said it twice. Daphne is my property, and I must respect and protect her. Good. Whether you choose to fully take her back as your wife is something you will decide together. But you are not someone who just gave in to a hurt feeling or fear of being alone. You are facing your pain head-on and trying to change it. To do that, you need to forget the past and build a new reality with her, Violet said, her eyes strong with feeling. That means, when the time is right, you will be close with your partner again. Not out of anger or pain, but as a clear choice based on trust and care. You will do it in a way that helps both of you heal, leaving no space for the past to come back between you. I felt my face warm up, partly because of the strong words, and partly because I felt a sudden rush of wanting, taking her fully back, being close to her in a new way. My life had changed so much in just a few weeks. 5 days ago, I was just a man left behind, spending time alone in a cheap gym and thinking about divorce. Now, with Violet's help and a new feeling inside me, I was thinking about taking back Daphne. I missed being by her side. I missed the closeness so much it hurt. I just hadn't allowed myself to feel it through the pain. I want to, I said, voice catching. I'm just scared that when I try, it'll freeze or don't lose hope. You won't, Violet said with a small, confident smile. Because it'll show you how to get through this. We'll take it step by step. By the time we're done, being with her will feel as natural as breathing again. I promise. I believed her. Honestly, I did. I noticed my hands were clasped tightly, my fingers pressing hard on the backs of my hands. My whole body felt tense, like I'd just run fast for a long time. Just a few words from Violet had changed how I thought. She had shown me what I really needed, and she made me believe I could fix things with Daphne. My mind raced with questions about how this would work, but I knew that was what the next few months were for. She wasn't going to fix everything in one talk. She was showing me the way. Still, I felt unlocked inside. I would win Daphne back when I was ready. Violet looked at me, nodding with a pleased smile. I can tell that idea doesn't scare you. Good. Her voice was softer now. Peter, you're not weak or broken. You're a man who was put in a very hard place and just did his best. I want to give you the tools to do better for yourself and for Daphne. She took a deep breath, her shoulders relaxing just a little, and the heavy feeling in the room eased a bit. You've been honest with me. Thank you. Honesty is the most important thing for what comes next, and about what comes next. She glanced at a clock nearby, then looked back at me. We'd been talking for more than an hour. We'll only move forward after I talk with Daphne. She has to know what I'm offering, and she has to agree happily. This won't work if she's only going because she feels guilty or scared. She has to want this. She will, I said right away. I knew deep down that Daphne would take any chance to keep me and make things right. But yes, of course, it's better she hears it from you. Good. Are you free later today for a joint call? Violet asked. The sooner we start, the better. I want to speak with both of you at the same time, and especially with Daphne. There are things I need to tell her. I nodded quickly. We're free the rest of the day. We'll make it work whenever you want. Perfect. Her smile came back, this time with a playful touch. Let's meet again in 1 hour. That will give you time to get ready. Get ready? I repeated, unsure what she meant. Suddenly I felt a little nervous. Was she expecting something formal? Violet laughed quietly like she noticed my worry. Nothing big, just a few things. First, I want you to set up the call in a place where you and Daphne can sit together and be comfortable. Maybe your living room? I pictured our living room, the couch, the coffee table, and the big TV on the wall. All right, I can connect my laptop to the TV. That way, we can both see you on a bigger screen. Perfect, she said with a nod. I'd like to be shown on the biggest screen you have. It would make a strong impression, especially on Daphne. Her eyes sparkled. She clearly knew how to use drama to affect the mind. Being larger than life in our living room would help her presence stand out. Consider it done, I said. What else? Clothes, Violet said. For Daphne, especially. Have you set out clothes for her today? I laughed dryly. No, 2 of the rules my AI made were that she stay without clothes at home and do chores in heels. So if she's wearing anything, it's just those. My, Peter. I'm impressed by your AI friend again, she said. I'd like her dressed in something, at least at the start, because I plan to apologize to her in person. To make it more meaningful, I want her to wear something simple, something that reminds her of who she was to you. Does she have a robe or dress that's personal? Maybe a gift you gave her? I thought for a moment and remembered the silk robe I had bought Daphne for our anniversary a few years ago. It was light blue with ivory lace, a delicate, beautiful thing she used to wear on special mornings or evenings. She hadn't worn it in a while, but I knew she still had it. Yes, it meant something. I gave it to her with love, and she had loved it too, at least for a time. Yes, I said. A silk robe I gave her for our anniversary. Perfect. Have her wear only that. Nothing else underneath and barefoot, Violet said. It will make her feel open but still connected to you through the gift. Emotionally open, that's how I want her when we talk. Later on, if she agrees to join you in our course, I will ask her to take off the robe and show herself fully committed. I should warn you, once I've apologized for how she was treated at my club, I will speak to her as I would to anyone under my guidance. What is her safe word? I realized I did not know Daphne's safe word. I don't know. We haven't set one up. Now I'm disappointed in your AI friend for missing that, she laughed softly. I was struck again by how beautiful she was, especially when not acting as a counselor. Please ask her to choose one. It should be a strange word or a short phrase that wouldn't usually come up. My safe word is pancakes, for example. I was sure Daphne would agree readily to Violet's idea. The thought of this strong, beautiful woman leading Daphne felt freeing. I realized I didn't mind giving up some control to her. I felt relief. Understood, I said. He'll handle it. Violet nodded with a pleased smile. I will change as well. It will help me get into the role better if I wear something more fitting for the situation. As for you, business clothes suit you well. The way you are dressed now is just right. Daphne will see that you are serious about this, like you should be. I felt Violet's strong purple eyes looking at me again. Okay, he'll stay in this, I said. Excellent. Now, Violet's voice became softer, Peter. You did very well today. I know this was a lot, probably more than you thought it would be. I laughed softly at her guess. Just a little. Her eyes became kinder. You handled it with courage and honesty. That is the best start I could hope for. You should feel proud for taking this step. Accepting help with something so personal is not easy. I felt a small flush of pride, or maybe just thankfulness. Thank you, Violet. I stopped, then said sincerely, really, for reaching out, for giving us this chance. A week ago, I thought my life was over. Now, I actually think there might be a way through, and it's because of you. Violet's face softened to something almost gentle. There is a way. You won't be lost alone in the dark forest without a map anymore, Peter. I am here with you both. She leaned closer, and for a strange moment I felt like she might reach through the screen and hold my hand. You are not alone in this. Those words. She had written them at the end of her email. You are not alone. Hearing her say them in that calm and warm voice broke something inside me. I pressed my lips together and gave a small nod. I would not cry. Instead, I met Violet's eyes, hoping she knew what I couldn't say. For the first time in this call, I felt truly seen. Her smile told me she did. He'll see you soon, she said. Go get ready. And Peter? Yes? Violet looked at me one last time, strong and kind all at once. Hold your head up. You are not giving up because of Daphne's mistake. This is a choice made carefully to rebuild your bond with the woman you love. Making that hard choice shows real strength. The tight feeling in my chest loosened. I straightened my back, squared my shoulders. Thank you. I will remember that. She gave a last nod. Talk soon. Talk soon, Violet, I said quietly. I stayed a moment longer, not wanting to end the call, but finally pressed the button. The call ended. The screen went dark, and in the glass I saw myself eyes a little wide, cheeks warm. I took a long, uneven breath. My whole body was buzzing with energy, and if I was honest, a strange new feeling. My pants felt a bit tight. Had talking with her really done that? I ran a shaky hand through my hair. There was no use hiding it. The feeling was sudden and full of life. Violet's strong presence, her sharp words, and her clear will, combined with her striking beauty, felt almost too much to take in. For the 10th time, I understood why Madeline looked up to her. But more than anything, I wanted the future Violet described. A future where I was strong, sure of myself, and in control. A future where Daphne and I could finally support each other the way we needed. For the first time in a week, I felt more than just a small hope. I knew the road ahead would be hard and full of emotions, but I was no longer lost. I had a guide. We both had a guide. I felt steady. I stood up on legs that still felt weak and opened my office door. I needed to find Daphne and tell her the news. Her world was about to change once again. Daphne Peter had left me alone all morning, and there really wasn't much left to do around the house. I could have rested, read a book, watched some TV, but it didn't feel right. How could I relax when my master was meeting with someone so important? Someone who could be like a queen. They had been talking for a long time already. What were they saying? So there I was, standing quietly in the kitchen when Peter finally found me. His face was flushed, and his eyes shone with a kind of energy I hadn't seen in a while. "Did the call go well?" I asked. Peter nodded. "Mistress Violet wants to speak to both of us in an hour. Well, do a video call together in the living room." My heart jumped. Mistress Violet wanted to talk to both of us already. Whatever she had planned, Peter was in. Now I was being brought into it. What did that mean? What would she say? To me? Would she ask me to do something? "She gave me a few instructions for you," Peter said, his voice serious but excited. "Take a shower and get ready. Wear that silk robe I gave you for our anniversary. Nothing underneath. And one more thing. Pick a safe word for yourself. Something unique that you wouldn't say by accident. Using the safe word doesn't mean you stop completely only if you want to. It just means we pause and check in on how you feel. Let me know when you've chosen one." I blinked. A safe word. It hadn't crossed my mind before. In the chaos of the past week, I'd given Peter permission to do whatever without hesitation. I had already done things I never thought I would, without much doubt. My hand moved on its own to one of my nipple rings, but the idea that Violet had asked for a safe word made me swallow hard. Whatever was coming next, Mistress Violet was serious. "Yes, sir," I said softly. I'll think of one," I said quietly. My voice was small, but inside my chest, my heart beat fast with nervous excitement. I quickly went to the bathroom. With the warm water from the shower, I carefully shaved my legs and underarms and tidied the small patch of hair I kept because of Peter's rules. If Mistress Violet was going to see me too, I needed to show I was following the rules. After drying off and fixing my hair, I tried to think of a safe word. It had to be something unusual. I looked out the window at the plants in our yard. Then, feeling a bit proud of my Texas roots, I found it. Prickly pear. It was a strange thing to say in any situation like this, so it was perfect. When I went back to the bedroom, I saw the light blue silk robe hanging in my closet. My hands shook a little as I took it down. The robe looked just as beautiful as the day Peter gave it to me. I slipped it on over my skin and felt the smooth silk slide over my shoulders. The robe came down to about the middle of my thighs. I tied it at the waist and looked down. I remembered how soft the silk felt, and how this robe reminded me of a happy moment from 2 years ago. Peter had surprised me with a candlelit dinner at home for our 5th anniversary. After dessert, he gave me this robe with a warm smile. I had worn it when we went to the bedroom that night. I smiled, thinking about how we spent that evening together, close and happy. I closed my eyes, feeling both sadness and longing. That was before I messed everything up. I held the robe close to my chest and told myself again, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I ruined everything." I wiped away a tear. Feeling sorry for myself wouldn't help now. I needed to focus. Mistress Violet probably wanted more than just to talk, right? I put a little perfume on my throat and wrists. Looking at myself in the mirror, I saw my wide hazel eyes filled with nerves, but also a small spark of courage. "Prickly pear," I whispered to my reflection. Saying the word made me feel a little stronger and more in control. Ready as I could be, I turned, put on my heels, and went to the living room. Peter had set up his video camera on top of our big TV and connected his laptop so the meeting would show on the screen. He sat on the couch, looking both excited and a little nervous. He looked very handsome in his work clothes, a clean white shirt and light gray suit. I knew the suit. I had helped him choose it years ago when he needed something smart for an important business meeting with a client. He was quickly tapping his pointer and middle fingers on the couch arm, a usual sign Peter showed when he was nervous. That made me feel a little better. At least I wasn't the only one worried. As I came closer, Peter looked me over from head to toe with a small smile. I felt his eyes rest for a moment on my piercings, and I playfully pushed my chest out like I was posing for him. "You look great, Daphne. Just one thing Mistress Violet asked, that you be barefoot." He patted the space next to him. "Sit here," he said. I took off my heels as he asked, But then I hesitated. All week, I'd rarely been beside him as an equal. He usually preferred I stay low, often kneeling by his feet. The only time I could remember being at his side like this was during breakfast when he offered to free me, meaning we would separate. I was afraid of what that would mean, but I moved quickly and sat next to him. The leather felt cool against my legs through the thin robe. I folded my hands in my lap and sat up straight. Even though I was dressed casually and the room was comfortable, it felt like we were about to face an important audience. "What's your safe word, by the way?" Peter asked quietly. "Prickly pear," I answered. He chuckled softly but said nothing more. "It's time," Peter said. He leaned over and pressed a button on his laptop. The meeting app opened, and a moment later, a message popped up showing Mistress Violet was calling in. I tried to keep my face calm and friendly. I wanted to make a good impression. I hoped she could see how much I'd grown in trusting my husband, now my master, over this last week. My mother always said, "You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it count." The thought of her saying that as I waited to meet the head of a club made me smile quietly to myself. Peter clicked accept, and Mistress Violet appeared on our television screen. I blinked briefly. It was hard not to. She looked powerful and full of confidence, sitting gracefully in front of a bright, abstract painting. And she was beautiful. I had never met Mistress Violet before. I'd only heard soft whispers about her from Madeline. But now she looked back at us clearly. Her dark brown, almost black hair was pulled up into a neat bun, showing off the long line of her neck and strong shoulders. Her face was calm and proud, with high cheekbones, a small turned-up nose, deep red lips, and eyes the color of dark violet that seemed to see right through us. Her eyes were outlined with dark makeup that made her look even sharper. But it was her outfit that caught my breath. Mistress Violet wore a silk top in a rich shade of purple, like the clothes of a queen. Black bands traced lines down her body, tightening at her waist and lifting her chest above a curved neckline. The outfit looked both strong and neat, a mix of control and quiet power. Around her neck hung a heavy necklace with a large purple stone that shone just above her chest. The whole look felt strong and serious. She showed confidence, calmness, and a grown-up woman's strength that made me quickly look away after staring at her once. My heart was beating fast. No wonder people spoke of her with respect. And there she is. "Hello, Daphne," Mistress Violet said warmly. Her voice was clear and smooth, with an American accent that didn't belong to any particular region. "Thank you for joining us, my dear. And thank you, Peter. It's good to see you again." I forced myself to meet the woman's eyes on the screen. She smiled kindly. Even though she looked powerful, her voice was full of real warmth. It made me feel a little more comfortable, just a little. "Hello, Mistress Violet," I said softly. "Thank you for inviting me." I clenched my hands in my lap to stop a small shake. Mistress Violet nodded her head. "I'm only sorry we didn't speak sooner." Her violet eyes looked at Peter for a moment, then back at me. "I want to start by saying I am truly sorry, Daphne, for what happened at the Hellfire Club." Her voice was soft but firm. "What Todd Whitmore did was against every rule we care about. As I told your master before, it's the darkest moment in the club's history. I am shocked and very sorry that something like this happened while I was in charge." She paused, and I saw real hurt on her face. "I offer you my sincere apology. Please forgive us, and I promise Mr. Whitmore will face the consequences." I sat still, hardly breathing. Of all the things I expected her to say, this was not one. This strong woman was apologizing, to me, and she looked truly sorry. A lump formed in my throat. Since that horrible night, I had carried so much guilt and shame, made worse when Peter found out what I had gone through. Madeline had told me Whitmore broke the club's rules and was kicked out, but I still blamed myself for everything. If I hadn't listened to him, if I hadn't agreed to go, if I hadn't gotten on that stage and hurt myself. Hearing Mistress Violet speak of it as her failure was shocking. I didn't know what to do with the kindness in her voice. I don't know what to say, mistress," I said, my voice tight. My eyes stung and I blinked fast, trying not to cry. "Thank you. Your apology means a lot. But I'm sorry too, for my part in it." The words came out quickly. I should never have been there. If I had just stayed in my hotel room and— Mistress Violet raised her hand, and I stopped speaking right away. Your actions toward your husband are one thing. This, though, is about Whitmore's dishonesty and poor behavior, she said clearly. He broke your trust and ours. Yes, you made a big mistake by getting involved with him, but that's between you and Peter. What he did at my club, however, hurt everything I've worked hard to build. Her jaw tightened, and for a moment I saw the anger in her eyes that she wanted to direct at Todd Whitmore. My club was turned into a place that hurt you and Peter. That's why I want to help you in the best way I know. I swallowed hard and looked down. Thank you, mistress, I whispered. I didn't feel like I deserved her kindness or Peter's or anyone else's, but her words comforted me more than her words hurt. Now I understood why Mistress Violet was giving her time to someone like me. This wasn't really about me at all. She took a breath and went on. As I told your master, I want to offer both of you a clear path forward, a way to heal and change your relationship, using the ideas and teachings we follow at the Hellfire Club. She folded her hands neatly on the desk before her. To be clear, this is all your choice. I will only move forward if you both truly agree. Feeling guilty or scared isn't enough. This will only work if it comes from your heart, Daphne. From your soul. Do you understand? I lifted my head to meet her steady, serious look. This was Mistress Violet's offer, guidance and support. My heart felt a small rush of hope. Yes, mistress, I understand, I said. And I do want it. My voice grew stronger as I spoke honestly. This past week, serving Master Peter, it's been the best I've felt in a long time. I glanced at Peter beside me. He was watching me closely, his lips slightly parted as if waiting. I know I may not deserve another chance. My voice shook a little. But I love him. I want to do whatever it takes to show I can be worthy of being with him, even if it means putting him first. A quiet tear slipped down my cheek, and I wiped it away. I'm ashamed, very ashamed that I brought us here. If I had been honest about what I needed. I swallowed hard. Maybe we wouldn't be in this trouble, but I wasn't, and we are. I'm truly grateful you want to help, mistress. I agree, completely. I bowed my head. A soft smile touched Mistress Violet's lips. Good, she said with a nod. That's what I wanted to hear. She leaned back just a little, still sitting straight. Let me briefly explain what I have in mind. She raised one carefully manicured finger. First, I will be a personal guide and trainer for Master Peter and you for the next 5 months. Think of it like a special plan made just for you. During this time, I will give you both daily routines, weekly tasks, and certain challenges. These are made to help fix the problems in your relationship and lead you toward a better way of working together. We will check in regularly with talks and video calls to see how things are going. I will be here like a counselor, using what I know from psychology and my experience with the club. I listened carefully. 5 months. It sounded serious, but inside I felt there was no quick fix for me. It was good to know that Peter and I would have someone to guide us. Mistress Violet raised a second finger. Second, this training will cover more than just the parts about attraction, even though those will be part of it, she said with a small smile, but also the emotional work. We will face the feelings that hurt you, your guilt, Daphne, and your struggle to control your impulses. Peter's anger and his pain. We will work to change how you think and build you both back up. I won't pretend it will be easy. Sometimes it will be hard and honest, but if you trust me, I believe we can come through this much stronger. She raised a third finger. Third, if and only if you both fully commit and finish the program well, then at the end of 5 months, I will invite you to join our group in the Hellfire Club as full members. I could not hide my surprise at this last point. My mouth opened a little, and I stared at her without blinking. Join the Hellfire Club? My mind raced back to that huge room, the bright lights on my skin, the masked crowd cheering as I broke my trust with Peter in front of everyone. The shame from that night still stayed with me. Just thinking about going back there made me feel cold inside, and yet Mistress Violet was offering to welcome us, to make us part of her group. But I was the one who had hurt Peter and broken our trust. Why would she want me to join? I noticed time had passed in silence. Mistress Violet was watching me carefully. Peter's hand moved to my lower back, giving me a quiet, kind touch. I took a deep breath to steady myself. I started but stopped for a moment to think. I remembered Peter's face when he first saw the video, how hurt he was, how that pain still showed in his eyes sometimes. If joining the club could help us forget that bad memory and replace it with better ones, maybe this could be a way to make things right, a chance to take back control of our story. I lifted my chin, hoping my face did not show how scared I was. If Master Peter wants us to join, and if you truly believe we could be good members, then yes, mistress. I would be honored to accept your offer, I said, my voice trembling but full of honest feeling. I will do whatever it takes to make up for the harm I caused, I added softly. Peter gently squeezed my thigh. When I glanced at him, he gave me a small nod to encourage me. Mistress Violet now smiled fully. Thank you for accepting. I truly believe I can help both of you. She looked at Peter, who nodded back. Before we begin, Daphne, what is your safe word? She asked. Prickly pear, I answered. Good choice, she said. Once we start, things may feel very deep and intense. I want you to stay with those feelings, even if they are hard. But remember, if you want to stop at any time, just say prickly pear. We will only keep going if both of you agree. We use words like slaves and masters and mistresses, but we are all human. We all deserve respect and choice. If you don't want to go on, please use your safe word. Do you understand? I nodded. Yes, mistress. She leaned forward slightly. Her violet eyes seemed to shine brighter. Very well, Daphne. We begin now. Her voice changed. It was no longer casual, but serious and strong. The way she said my name felt important, like a ceremony. It would be the last time I heard Mistress Violet say my given name for a long time. From the very start and always going forward, we must be honest with each other and ourselves. I'm sure you agree. Mistress Violet tilted her head and looked at me in a way that made me sit up straight without thinking. Then she said sharply, So tell me, who are you? Be honest. I blinked, unsure what she meant. Did she want me to introduce myself again? I cleared my throat. I'm Daphne Williams, mistress, I began slowly. I grew up in Plano, Texas, in a very strict family. I was a good student and finished school early. I met Peter in college. We studied law together. I've been a lawyer for 6 years. Peter and I married while still in law school, and Mistress Violet made a soft, disappointed sound and shook her head, cutting me off. That's not what I asked. All those details your past, what you've done, they don't show who you really are inside, Daphne. Her eyes grew hard and her voice was sharp and clear. You are my servant, and you must say it. I froze. Peter beside me also became still. A wave of embarrassment and a sharp sense of discomfort ran through me. My first urge was to pull away and say no. The word slut kept ringing in my mind, sounding harsh and familiar. I had called myself that many times over the last week, lying on the floor beside my bed at night when guilt felt too heavy. But hearing Mistress Violet say it out loud was different. It felt like a serious judgment. And the word slave. I had already accepted that. I had even asked Peter to let me be his slave. But to have my whole being described that way? What about all I had done before? A small spark of rebellion rose inside me, but quickly faded. Those things used to matter, but now, after everything had fallen apart, the only thing that felt important was making things right through obedience. Still, I paused, shocked and unable to answer. Mistress Violet raised her eyebrows. Did you hear me? She asked quietly, her voice soft but serious. Be honest, slave. Look me in the eye and obey. Tell me who you are. Or are you ashamed to be the slave of a caring master like Master Peter? Her stress on slave made my cheeks hot with shame. But when she said Peter was a loving master, it stopped my anger. Was I ashamed to be his slave? No. Being his slave was the one thing I felt proud of lately. I had chosen this for myself because I cared deeply for him. It was my last hope to keep him. I had lost my job, my marriage, and almost all pride. Giving myself to Peter was all I had left. Why should I feel ashamed? The only shame was what I had done before. I noticed I had looked away in confusion, but now I forced myself to meet Mistress Violet's eyes. Her face filled my view, strong and waiting. I took a shaky breath. I am a slut and a slave, I said softly. The words felt sharp but also oddly freeing as I spoke. I am Master Peter's slave. I said it clearly, even though each word felt heavy. My hands twisted nervously in my lap. Mistress Violet smiled a small, cool smile. "Good slave," she said with a nod. "Admitting the truth is the first step. But," she looked at me sharply and clicked her tongue, "how dare a slave stay dressed in my presence?" My stomach tightened as I guessed what came next. Mistress Violet went on, "With your master's permission, slave, you will now show me your body. Then you will take your proper place at your master's feet." I froze. Should I be surprised? I had met another member of the Hellfire Club this week, and both times I was not dressed. But after the shock of Mistress Violet's kind apology followed by her clear, almost businesslike plan, and then her order to undress in a ritual way, I was stunned. Yet I was proud of how well I had listened. And I was proud of my body, too. I should not feel shame. I wouldn't feel shame. I looked at Peter, wanting to be sure this was what he wanted. He met my eyes and gave me a small nod, though his jaw was tight. He was wondering if I would obey again. I would show him I could. My fingers reached for the silk belt at my waist. My hands shook as I untied the knot. The robe opened and cool air brushed over my skin. I bit my lip, feeling a warm flush move through me. I took a deep breath and pushed the robe off my shoulders. The silk slipped down my arms and fell to the floor like a soft puddle. In a moment, I was standing without the robe. I felt goosebumps from the slight cold and my nervousness. Unsure what to do next, I started to kneel by Peter's feet. On the screen, Violet's eyes flashed with anger. "Slave!" she said sharply. The word sounded loud and clear in the room. I jumped, and Peter let out a quick breath beside me. Violet's face looked very serious. "Do not disrespect the fine gift your master gave you," she said, raising her chin. "Pick up that robe now and fold it carefully. Treat it like the special thing it is. Your master gave it to you out of care, not to be dropped like trash." I felt my face grow pale. Shame washed over me again. How could I have been so careless? Even though I had dropped that robe many times before, I still felt terrible now. "I'm sorry, mistress," I said quickly, going down to get the robe. The silk was cool in my shaking hands. Violet's sharp gaze and the quietness from Peter pressed on me as I folded the robe neatly, making sure the embroidered edges lined up and the belt was wrapped just right. I felt like a child being scolded. Every part of me burned with shame, feeling even worse because she was right. I had rushed without respect, trying to obey too quickly. I told myself to be more thankful and careful. When I finished folding the robe into a neat square, I stood up and turned to Peter. He looked surprised, his eyes wide and cheeks a bit red. I gently put the folded robe in his lap and bowed my head. "Please forgive me, sir," I whispered, my voice soft and nervous. Peter's face was pale, like a child unsure what to say. He nodded shortly and took the silk from me. I stepped back to my place, still without the robe and waiting quietly for Violet's next word. Mistress Violet looked at me with a steady gaze, but I thought I caught a small smile hidden in her eyes, as if she had planned this moment and I had fallen into it. "Now," she said, her voice deep and calm. "Show yourself, slave. Show me exactly what your master Peter owns." My stomach flipped. The way she asked me to stand was one I knew well, a classic show yourself pose for inspection. The stag had taught it to me in his office. I wasn't usually without clothes when I did it, but now it felt strange to do this for a glowing face on a screen. This pose was all about showing everything. Arms out, legs apart, standing on tiptoes to make sure nothing was hidden. I felt nervous because, in this stance, every part of me was on full display to Mistress Violet, even the most private parts. I stepped with shaky legs, parting my feet. I laced my fingers behind my head, lifting my elbows up. This pushed my chest forward and tightened my stomach, moving my hips slightly ahead. As I rose onto the balls of my feet, my calves shook a bit from the effort. I thought of Peter then. He would know right away why I knew this pose and who had shown it to me. Would he also understand what my body had learned to feel when I stood this way? The stag had often made me pose like this in the morning, checking if I was ready under my clothes. Many times he had whispered words of approval in my ear, and then taken control in his office while others worked nearby. And just like that, the moment Mistress Violet said, "Present, slave," I felt a strong rush inside me. The truth was, I liked being made to stand like this for the approval of someone powerful, for my master's eyes. I looked straight ahead, unable to meet Mistress Violet's gaze. I wondered what she saw: the shape of my chest, the cool shine of silver rings, the flatness of my stomach, and below, how open my stance made me. I thought about whether she could tell how nervous I was. I bit the inside of my cheek, struck by a sudden daydream of Mistress Violet standing nearby, watching me on a stage with many people all masked and silent. I felt shy but also caught up in the moment. The strong voice of Mistress Violet, the fact that I had no choice but to obey, the way my body moved on its own, it was a little scary, but also gave me a dark sort of excitement. Mistress Violet made a slow, pleased sound. "Very good," she said softly. "Hold." Just like that, I could feel her eyes looking at me carefully. It was almost like a gentle touch because the hairs on my arm stood up under her look. My legs shook from standing on my tiptoes, but I didn't dare relax or lose my pose. I had no idea how long she would keep me there. My chest rose and fell quickly as I took shallow breaths. I could hear Peter breathing softly, too. I had felt his look all week while I was doing chores, wearing only heels. I knew he liked it, even if he hardly ever touched me. We both felt something strong from my being so open and obedient. A light feeling started to spread inside me. I knew it a little, the kind of calm happiness I get when I focus only on following orders. I had felt this sometimes with Whitmore, but it was mixed with guilt. Now it was clear and pure. The slight pain from my tired calves and my open, weak pose made every feeling stronger. I knew I was getting more emotional by the moment. It was hard to tell what was what anymore. My eyes closed for a quick moment as I tried to handle everything inside me. "Open your eyes," Mistress Violet said sharply. I opened my eyes right away. She had not told me to look away or close them. I scolded myself again. But she said nothing about it. Instead, she said, "Enough for now. You may sit, slave." Relief washed over me. "Thank you, mistress." Was I supposed to say it out loud? My leg muscles were burning from the strange position. I put my heels down and dropped my arms, breathing out with a shaky sigh. Mistress Violet did not say how to sit, but she had told me earlier to take my usual spot at Peter's feet, so I knelt on the rug in front of Peter. After a moment, I shifted to one side, placed my left hand on the floor, and lowered myself onto my hip. Then I settled my bottom on the ground and placed my legs to one side, hoping I looked proper. The cool wood floor against my skin helped me feel more steady. I could smell my light perfume and myself. Peter's hand gently came to my head and pulled me toward him. I looked up as he moved me to rest beside his leg. Even his small touch felt electric. I had not felt this much contact all week. I looked back to the screen where Mistress Violet sat, serious and commanding. "Now," she said calmly, "you were not always Master Peter's slave, right? Tell me, slave, why are you his slave now?" I swallowed hard. The answer was simple, but saying it out loud in front of Peter made my throat tight. I clasped my hands in my lap and forced myself to speak clearly. "I was his wife," I said quietly. I made a mistake, mistress. I hurt him." My voice trembled, but I kept talking. I wanted to be honest. "He left me because of it. I begged him to take me back. And I promised to do whatever he wanted if it meant getting another chance." Mistress Violet's face stayed calm. She gave a small nod like she was making a note. "I see. And since you made that promise, have you kept it, little bunny?" I blinked. Little bunny? Was that what she was going to call me? I thought about the rabbit mask I wore at the club. My pride for following the rules all week faded fast. Calling me that right after my worst moment felt like I was being punished in front of everyone. I felt nervous and said, I did everything I was told." As I said it, I knew I had made a mistake. Violet's eyes flashed sharply. "Everything you were told, she repeated. "Watch your words, slave. That is the passive voice. Who gave you those instructions?" She didn't wait for my answer. Her voice turned sharp. "Master Peter, of course. When your master talks to you, do not hide it. In front of me, you will always call him master or sir. Understand?" "Yes, mistress," I stammered. My face felt hot again. I thought I was doing everything right. But just a few sentences in, Mistress Violet had already found my mistakes. Sorry, mistress. What I meant was that Master Peter gave me rules, and I have followed them. My voice was weak and unsure. I felt shaky, and Mistress Violet was pointing out every little slip. She was breaking down my confidence. I bit my lip, feeling upset with myself. I wanted to feel proud of following orders, but under her cold look, I felt like I was failing. Better, Mistress Violet said with a small nod. Then she tilted her head. But even though you obeyed, you didn't actually answer my question, did you? A small smile appeared on her lips as I looked confused. I asked if you are a good slave, she said. Instead of just saying yes or no, you told me you followed orders. Tell me, counselor, would you accept that as an answer in a hearing? My mouth went dry. No, mistress, I said. I was starting to see that saying yes wasn't the right answer for her. Saying no seemed right, but I didn't understand why. I tried to meet her eyes, but the silence between us felt very long. Mistress Violet gave a soft, mocking laugh. That's what I thought, she said. You don't even know, do you? Well, I do. I have the answer, little bunny. You are not a good servant. In fact, you are a pretty bad one. You were even worse as a wife. Her words hit me hard. I actually flinched. Her voice wasn't mean exactly, but calm and matter-of-fact in a way that made it feel worse. It was like she was just stating a fact about the weather. I looked at her, my cheeks burning. Bad? Even after all the things Peter had asked me to do, I had done so much for him. I had followed his orders, even in ways that made me uncomfortable. I walked in the park as he wanted. I kept the house tidy, often dressed in ways just to please him. I wrote in my journal like he told me. I even told my sister about things I normally wouldn't. All of that was for him, wasn't it? I thought I was a good servant. What more could I do than obey? I wanted to argue inside, but I held it back. No, I would listen. If this was her judgment, I needed to hear it, no matter how it hurt. Mistress Violet looked at me, steady and strong. Yes, servant, you heard me right, she said slowly and clearly. Let me explain. I held my breath and pressed my hands together tightly. Violet kept going. What you're doing now, giving yourself so fully, has a name. In our group, we call it sub-frenzy. In the bigger picture of your relationship, you're cheating. It's a kind of nervous bonding. She paused, and I felt a cold wave inside me. I had never heard sub-frenzy before, but I had read something about nervous bonding once. It's when someone who has hurt their partner tries hard to reconnect, maybe out of fear or guilt. Was that what I was doing? Before I could think more, Mistress Violet spoke again, her words sharp. People who cheat often use nervous bonding to make their partners forgive them. They flood them with kindness, attention, obedience, anything to keep them from leaving. Does that sound familiar, little bunny? She said the last words sharply. I felt like she was calling me names in a quiet way. I struggled to breathe. Her words hit all the weak spots I had inside. Trying to trick someone into taking you back. Oh no. Was that what Peter thought I was doing? I didn't mean to trick him. I just wanted to show how sorry I was and how much I cared. I remembered our talk from a few days ago. He said we should stop this, and I had promised to do more and more for him. Shame ran through me again. I looked down at the floor. Yes, mistress, I said softly. It does sound familiar. Saying it felt terrible in my mouth. Mistress Violet kept speaking firmly. In other words, you're using this busy work as a quick fix, and it's not a good one, because it doesn't solve the real problem. She looked at me closely. Tell me, you often break promises in relationships, don't you? My pride tried to fight back. No, how could she say that? But she was right. I had told Madeline about how I acted in college, so Mistress Violet already knew, and I had just been in a long, secret relationship with Whitmore. I did have a pattern of breaking trust in relationships. It was a mistake, mistress. I won't do that again, I promise, I said, my voice begging. Violet sniffed, not convinced. So losing your past relationship because of broken promises and being forced out of your family home did not teach you enough? And now you want me to believe this time is different? Tell me, are you proud of this sudden change? Her tone was sharp. I turned red. No, mistress, I said fast, looking down. Am not proud of any of it. A tear fell down my cheek without me meaning for it to. She leaned closer, her face filling the screen. "Let me make this clear. When we are in scene, you might be told to lower your eyes and stay quiet. But when we talk like this, you keep your head up, look me in the eyes, and answer clearly. Hiding your face doesn't hide what you've done. A person trying to change doesn't get to hide from the truth. Do you understand, little bunny?" I forced myself to look up at her with my eyes blurring. "Yes, mistress," I said, my voice choking. Her face became serious. "Good. Now answer clearly. Are you someone who often breaks promises in relationships?" My lips shook. My shoulders dropped from the weight of her words. "Yes, mistress," I said weakly. "I was. Someone who often broke promises." The word "was" slipped out quietly, hoping that part of me truly was gone now. For a long moment, Mistress Violet just looked at me, her face unreadable. I wanted to disappear. My bottom hurt from sitting on the hard floor, but I barely felt it. So many feelings swirled inside me: shame, anger at myself, fear of her judgment, and a strange feeling that made me even more embarrassed. "Good," Violet said, voice cold and clear. "Now that you've been honest, let's go back to what I was saying about you." "As I said, you are someone who often breaks promises," she said again, not letting me hide behind the past tense, "and don't control your impulses well. You're trying to fix your mistakes by doing everything asked of you without question. But do you know what I see deep inside you? I see a wife filled with guilt who is desperately trying to earn her husband's forgiveness." She said the word like it was dirty. I flinched. I mean, I was his wife. Mistress Violet's eyes flashed sharply, and I fell silent. She wasn't finished. "You have no husband now, slave," she said firmly, each word like a heavy blow. "You lost that place. Instead, you have a master now, Master Peter, and let me warn you, his patience with your frightened and restless behavior will not last forever." Frightened? The word hit me hard, like a fresh pain in my chest. I opened my mouth to protest, but stopped. Was my submission real? Or was it just fear and panic, as she said? I did not feel fake. But then again, I hadn't fixed what was broken inside me, had I? On the outside, yes, I was doing what was right. But inside, I was still the same lost person who made bad choices. How could I fix all that in a week? Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't wipe them away. I am trying," I whispered, my voice cracking. "I don't want him to lose patience with me, mistress. I will do better. I will." My voice trailed off, feeling weak. Mistress Violet's face didn't soften. "If nothing truly changes beneath this, show of obedience," she said sharply, "he will grow tired. The problem will stay. And then where will you be? Left alone, having lost the best thing in your life because of your own mistakes." I swallowed a sob. I felt rotten inside. My chest rose and fell quickly as I tried to calm myself. I felt like everything was being stripped away from me, and I could not deny any of it. It hurt because it was true. I had trouble controlling myself. I had made many wrong choices. I was acting out of fear just to keep Peter, without fixing the real reasons behind my mistakes. Yet amid this pain, a strange feeling was growing inside me. It pulsed quietly in my body, warmed my belly softly. The feeling of giving in, which had started when I stood quietly before her, was now getting stronger. Even though Violet's words were harsh and sharp, they shook me to my core. Each comment cut at my pride, but also reached deep inside, making me feel noticed for the first time in a long time. I felt small and weak, yes, but I also felt truly seen. My troubled heart was reacting to this strict way she spoke, almost as if it was something I had learned to feel over the past year, and even more so in this past week. That thought made my shame grow. A quiet sound of pain slipped out of me. Mistress Violet smiled slightly, as if she already knew exactly how I felt. She seemed to understand exactly what I was feeling inside. "The truth hurts, doesn't it?" she said sharply. "It hurts. But look at you." She said it so sure and calm that I couldn't say anything back. I looked down, my face burning with shame. I knew there was no point in denying it. I was sure she could see how I felt just by looking at me. I wanted to disappear, but part of me also wanted to stay there and let her keep breaking me down until nothing was left. Her smile disappeared, and she looked serious. "The good news," she said, her voice softer, "is that you are not beyond help. Not at all. I have met others like you, people raised with deep shame who ended up seeing themselves in a twisted way. Her voice got a little gentler. People who, even if they seem to have success or look good on the outside, secretly believe they are not good enough. Is that how you feel? I caught my breath. Her words sank inside me like heavy stones dropping into a deep well. How could she know? How could this woman, who just met me today, see straight into the darkest part of me? My vision blurred again, but this time not with shame, rather with a strange kind of understanding. For a moment I was a little girl again, hearing my mother say I was a failure. Then a teenage girl sitting in church told my body was bad. Then a young lawyer among others who seemed so sure of themselves, while I hid my doubts under a mask of perfection, scared it'd be found out. I was a person who had made mistakes and hated myself inside, worthless. That word had haunted me for so long in many different ways. My throat tightened. I looked up at her strong, serious face on the screen. Yes, I whispered. I feel worthless, almost all the time. Saying it out loud felt like ripping off an old wound, exposing the pain underneath. Peter's hand, which had been resting on my head, moved softly. He stroked my hair gently as if he wanted to say something, but then stayed quiet. Over the years, I had only hinted to him about my worries when he asked why I worked so hard, but I had never told him clearly how little I thought of myself. Worthless. Her eyes warmed a little, not with pity, but with understanding. You are not worthless, she said firmly. If you were, a good man like Peter would never have accepted you for who you are. He saw something in you that was worth caring about, even with all the pain you feel. Remember that. Her words felt like a soft hug over a sore place, easing some of the hurt inside. I sniffled quietly and held on to those words. Peter thought I was worth something, yes. He must want to be here, or he wouldn't be with me in our home right now. Otherwise, we'd be sitting across from each other at a meeting with our lawyers, working out our divorce. He wouldn't be giving me this chance. Still, Violet said, the lie you tell yourself every day is the root of all your problems. You think you're not worth much. So when someone like Whitmore showed you attention, you went to him, didn't you? She frowned at the name. He told you to lower yourself, to treat yourself badly, and inside, a part of you believed that's all you deserved, so you did it. And in doing that, you lost the most important thing in your life, your marriage to Master Peter. All for a man who left you when it was easy for him to go. Her words hit me hard. They were true. The stag hadn't forced me. I had lowered myself willingly because deep down I thought I deserved nothing better. Then he showed who he really was when he left me, and my life and work were left in ruin. A quiet sob escaped me. I breathed. I did that. Tears filled my eyes again. I squeezed my hands tightly until they hurt. Violet's voice became firm and cold. Now, instead of fixing this, you try to get back what you lost by submitting to whoever is in charge right now. That's your husband. She shook her head. You're throwing yourself at Master Peter, hoping that if you try hard enough to please him, he won't notice you haven't really changed inside. But you can't hide from me. The truth is this. If Peter takes you back as his wife and nothing really changes the way things were when he first gave you that robe, then listen closely. You will fall back into your old mistakes. You will betray him again. No. The word came out before I could stop it, full of pain. I looked at Violet, shocked. How could she think that? That I would hurt Peter like that again? It felt impossible. She made me sound like a machine programmed to fail. But I was here because of my own mistakes. Yes, I made bad choices before, but now I would make good ones. I would never, I started, but my voice broke. A small doubt crept in. Hadn't I once promised I would never hurt him? Yes, I had been faithful for a long time, until I wasn't. I hadn't planned to betray him when we married, but I did. I loved him very much, and even so, I hurt him. The scary thought that she might be right, that if nothing really changed, my own weaknesses could cause problems again, made me feel sick inside. I bent forward, holding my arms tight around my bare chest, shaking my head hard. I won't ever do that again, I whispered, not sure if I was trying to convince her or myself. Please, I'd rather die than hurt him like that again. My voice broke and tears ran down my face. I couldn't stop crying. I felt Peter's hands rest gently on my shoulders, then move down my chest as he pulled me close to his side. I turned my head and wiped my tears against his pants. Even after everything I'd done, he was trying to comfort me. I held onto his arm, not wanting to let go. "I'm so sorry, Peter," I stammered, forgetting to speak properly. I won't disappoint you again, I promise." I was just talking without thinking. I was sure Mistress Violet noticed, but she stayed quiet for a few moments before finally speaking. "Peter," she said, soft but clear, "please let her go. I know this is hard to hear, but she needs to." Peter's hold loosened. I felt his hands leave me. I leaned on his leg, trying to hold on to some small connection, and wiped my face with shaking fingers. I took deep, slow breaths to calm myself. Then it hit me. Just like I had been proud of being a good student and a strong lawyer, I had been proud of thinking I was a good servant, but that was all just a show. Mistress Violet, who barely knew me, saw right through it. How many others had noticed the truth, too? My mother, the stag. Had Peter seen it and just never said a word? I felt completely uncovered, inside and out. My soul was as open as my bare skin. Mistress Violet had stripped away my lies just like she had taken off my robe. There was no place left to hide from what she said. Even though her words hurt, I knew deep down that I needed to hear them. I had been denying a lot of things. I might have good intentions now, but I hadn't really faced the real reason I had hurt him. Not until she made me face it just then. I stopped crying and took shaky breaths. I stood up straight and forced myself to meet Mistress Violet's eyes. My vision was blurry from tears, but I blinked them away. "I understand, Mistress," I said quietly. "Thank you for being honest with me." I hoped she could feel how sincere I was. Mistress Violet looked at me for a moment. I thought I saw a small sign of approval in her eyes. "There may be hope for you yet," she said softly. "Because even with everything the lies you tell yourself, I also see something else in you. Something good, worth helping grow." I stayed very still and listened closely. "You can choose to tell yourself a new story," Violet said, her voice soft now. "A story where you are not worthless. One where you know that you are worthy of love and forgiveness, even if you don't believe it right now." She smiled just a little. "I want to help you with that if you let me. With my help, you will learn to give yourself to Master Peter on purpose because you love him and want to, because you choose it freely. You will stop giving yourself away to anyone who just shows a little attention or power over you. We will rebuild your sense of who you are piece by piece." I looked at her, barely daring to breathe. Her words felt like a light breaking through a dark sky. A new story, one where I could believe I wasn't bad, giving myself to Peter by choice. That sounded like what I really wanted, not just because I was scared to lose him. Mistress Violet kept speaking, calm and sure. "You are beautiful, yes. Your outside is lovely," she said, nodding slightly to my body. "But what matters most is the beauty inside. I just saw a little of it." She looked at Peter. "I see how Master Peter still cares for you, how much love he has, even after everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this talk now." She looked back at me. "When you finally see that you deserve that love, and when you accept being Peter's by choice, not just because you're scared, then you will be able to stop your worst habits. Only then will the emptiness inside you start to fill up with meaning, with order, with love, and you won't try to escape in harmful ways." I listened, my mouth a little open. It sounded so hopeful, something I wanted to believe, but was afraid to try. Could it really be true? Could I ever stop hating myself deep down? Could being Peter's feel like a strong, real choice instead of just paying for my mistakes? Mistress Violet leaned closer, her face serious and kind. "With discipline and self-thought, by learning to control what is inside, supported by following your master's directions, you will find a way out of these troubling thoughts and habits, little rabbit." I had no words. My heart felt like it was growing inside my chest, heavy with careful hope and wishful thinking. I wanted so much to believe her. I wanted to hold on tight to that idea, but part of me was still unsure, scared that I was too broken to fix. I want to believe that, Mistress," I said softly. "But I don't know how." Mistress Violet nodded gently. "That's okay. Not yet. That's why I'm here." A small smile appeared on her lips. "You won't face this alone. Your master is with you, and now I am too. We'll help you. All you need is to try your best and keep an open heart. But most of all, you must be honest. With me, with Master Peter, and with yourself." I nodded slowly, wiping the moisture from my cheeks with my hand. "Yes, mistress," I whispered. "Thank you." I felt like a house damaged by a storm, hoping to be repaired. But I did have hope. Mistress Violet watched me quietly. My chest was still moving fast, but I worked on calming my breath, each breath bringing a little more peace. I looked up at Peter. He was looking down at me with a mix of feelings: pride, worry, love, and care all mixed on his face. He gently brushed his thumb over my damp cheek, a gentle sign to comfort me. I leaned into his hand, thankful beyond words for him right then. Somehow, after everything, I felt closer to him than I had in a long time, because now he saw the truth of my pain, and he stayed by my side. Mistress Violet's clear voice brought me back. "All right," she said. "That's enough serious talk for now. You did well by listening and being honest, little bunny." This time the pet name sounded sweet, kind like she cared, not like before. I oddly liked it now. "You deserve something nice. A reward? Was that right? What kind of reward?" Her kind tone felt like sunshine after a storm. But then I saw a little playful smile on Mistress Violet's face, and my stomach fluttered. "Ask your master first," she said. "If he agrees, you may sit next to him on the couch and take some time for yourself." I blushed deeply. Take time for myself? Here? Now? I opened my mouth but couldn't say anything. Peter straightened on the couch. Mistress Violet raised an eyebrow. "You heard me," she said, enjoying my embarrassment. "Think of it as both a reward and a test of your willingness. And a nice one, too. Or do you not find comfort in taking care of yourself, slave?" "No, I mean, yes, I do find it. Nice, mistress," I stammered, feeling amazed and shy. My whole body felt warm. It was true that through the tears and hard moments of the last hour, I felt a growing tension inside me. But could I really do that now? With her watching? On camera? My cheeks burned with shame. Yet, my body was ready for some relief. Mistress Violet's words had left me feeling very full of different feelings, sad, tired, and also strangely alive. I noticed my skin felt very sensitive. I felt something warm and wet, slowly running down my inner thighs. Looking back, I realized Mistress Violet had planned this carefully. This moment would mix my feelings with pleasure, making me link following her orders with a good feeling. My mind quickly thought about this. Then I understood one thing. It did not matter if I felt shy or uneasy. She had given me a command, and I was going to follow it. I just needed Peter's approval. I turned to him. He was sitting, tense, his hands tight on his legs. There was something about him that made my stomach turn. His blue-green eyes met mine, wide and full of feeling. Seeing that he was interested too gave me a small boost of courage. I could do this. I could perform for him. I wet my lips. "Sir," I said quietly, "may I do as Mistress Violet told me?" My voice was barely a whisper, but I said the words. I even kept looking at him while I asked, which felt very brave. Peter's nostrils moved as he breathed. He looked from me to the screen and back. I saw his throat move as he swallowed hard. "Yes," he said, his voice rough. "Yes, you may." He moved to make space on the couch, turning a little to watch better. I stood up. My legs were shaky and a little numb, but I steadied myself by holding the arm of the couch. I climbed onto the seat next to him. The cool leather touched my skin. Part of me wanted to hide and cover up, but I did not. Mistress Violet's face looked at me from the screen, waiting. Peter leaned back slightly, his eyes never leaving me. I took a deep breath to calm my nerves. I knew I was about to do something very personal in the bright light of day. I was exposed, with two people watching me closely. It felt even more embarrassing than the first time I had been with Madeline. Back then, Peter had been watching too, but I was focusing on being with someone new. Now I was putting on a show alone, and this time I was fully awake, fully aware of their eyes on me. I let my knees fall apart, spreading my legs about as wide as my shoulders on the couch. The cool air touched my skin, making it feel even more alive. I imagined what I must look like. Not long ago, I had been in the shower, checking carefully to be sure I looked just right for Peter, to show how much I wanted to please him. After I let go of that wrong idea, all that was left was the feeling inside me that Mistress Violet had clearly noticed. She saw right through me. You are a servant and a follower. You are not useless. I slid my right hand down my belly. I felt the muscles move under my skin. Peter breathed quietly beside me as my hand moved lower, toward my legs. I gently touched myself, feeling the warmth there. Even this small touch made me bite my lip. I was more affected than I had thought, and a quiet feeling of need grew inside me. With gentle movements, I moved my fingers slowly along my skin, feeling the moist heat. Oh, I was ready. My face grew warm because I knew both of them could see just how much I wanted this. But instead of feeling worse, the embarrassment seemed to make me feel more alive. A soft breath came out of me as I moved my fingers carefully. "Wider," said Mistress Violet, her voice calm and firm. "Let us see clearly, servant. You do not have the right to be shy." I made a small sound of shame, but I did what she said right away. I moved forward a little and used my left hand to open myself a bit more. Peter's hand touched my knee and gently helped me open my legs a little more. Even that small touch made me feel more alive inside. "That's it," Violet said softly. "No hiding. Good girl. Know yourself." Her kind words made my heart beat faster. One good girl, and I almost felt like I could melt. I took a shaky breath and then touched my fingers to my mouth, tasting the moisture before going back. I let my eyes close halfway, focused on how my skin felt. I made slow, soft circles at first, then moved my fingers gently over my sensitive skin. Warm feelings spread through me. After everything that had happened, I felt extra sensitive, like my nerves were all awake. The feeling inside was growing and twisting in my belly. Next to me, Peter was breathing heavier. I peeked at him through my eyelashes. He watched me closely. His face was warm, and he seemed deeply interested. Even though he had pushed me away before, his strong feelings for me were clear now. I liked the way he looked at me. I wanted to show him how much I cared and remind him that I was the one he loved, despite all that had happened. I felt my shyness disappear. I was fully focused on what I was doing. I made a soft sound and moved my hips gently. I found the right spot that felt good. I moved my fingers in circles, soft and steady. A warm feeling began to grow inside me. My body responded willingly, and I felt more moisture on my fingers. I touched my fingers to my lips and tasted it. It felt sweeter now. Sweat ran down between my chest. My breathing grew faster. I lost track of time as I kept going. At some point, I gently moved my fingers inside, unable to stop myself. A low sound came from my throat. I moved my fingers slowly, pressing a special spot that made me feel lightheaded. The quiet sounds of my movements filled the room, along with soft sighs from me. My other hand joined, circling the sensitive spot while the fingers inside moved deeper. I could feel every movement in a new way. I whispered softly, unable to stop the gentle sounds. There was no shame, only a strong, happy feeling. I knew someone was watching me, but it only made me feel more confident. I wanted to show them how much I belonged to them. I moved my fingers faster with one hand, and the other hand went up to my chest. I held my breast gently, feeling its weight. I rolled the nipple softly between my fingers, touching the silver ring that was there. The mixed feeling of my hand and the closeness inside made me cry out. "I'm so close," I said quietly. The tension inside me grew tighter and tighter. I moved faster, my fingers going deeper, while my thumb rubbed the sensitive spot quickly. My other hand held the ring tightly now. It was a sharp feeling, but my body felt it strongly. My back rose off the couch without meaning to, my body reaching for the release. A soft voice whispered, "That's it. Good. Keep going." But it was far away, less important than what I was feeling. Then a hand touched my leg, warm and steady. The roughness of the hand showed it was strong. That touch was the last thing I needed. With a soft cry, I reached the powerful feeling I had been waiting for. It took my breath away. My body clenched tightly around my fingers. I let out a few broken words as my head fell back. The world faded for a moment as I shook and trembled, caught in a strong wave of feeling. It seemed like all the stress and sadness of the day changed into pure joy, flowing out of me in that intense moment. My body moved, hips pressing against my hand, stretching out each wave of feeling. Finally, the rush slowed, leaving me tired and relaxed. I sank back into the couch, breathing hard. My skin was damp with sweat, and strands of hair clung to my forehead. I opened my eyes, blinking in the bright light. The first thing I saw was Peter's face. He looked surprised. His eyes were full of emotion, lips slightly open. He almost seemed taken by what he had seen. That thought sent a small, warm feeling through me. I gave him a shy, weak smile. Then I remembered Mistress Violet. Blushing, I looked at the screen. She was smiling too, with a quiet, knowing smile. I felt a wave of embarrassment as I realized how I must look. Legs spread wide, fingers still inside myself. I carefully pulled them out now, blushing at the soft sound, my skin glowing and flushed from the moment. I felt suddenly shy, even after everything I had just done, but I pushed the feeling away. Honesty. I promised Mistress Violet honesty, and in that moment there was nothing more real for me than being open and exposed. Look at me, see me, accept me. I couldn't remember the last time I had felt something so strong. Mistress Violet gave a soft, kind sigh. "Well done, little bunny. See what you can do when you let go and show your true self," she said. I shivered at the praise in her voice. Well done, my true self. Those words stayed with me, sweet and clear. My cheeks were still hot, but I couldn't stop a little pride from growing alongside the embarrassment. I had done it. I had followed even that hard command. And if I wasn't wrong, I had made her proud. Peter finally breathed out, running his hand through his hair. He looked like he was trying to collect his thoughts. "Wow," I heard him say quietly. I held back a laugh, feeling a warm fondness for him right then. I glanced down at his lap, noticing the shape pressing against his pants. If he had asked, if he had been willing, I would have welcomed his closeness right then, no matter who was watching. My fingers touched my lips without thinking. I missed Peter's touch. Mistress Violet didn't let us linger in the moment. She sat up straight in her chair on the screen and spoke clearly. "Now that we all understand, we can move forward. Your course starts this afternoon." This afternoon. My stomach fluttered with nervous excitement. I straightened my back, trying to look attentive and not careless, but that was hard. Mistress Violet had not told me to close my legs, so I didn't move. I sat there with my legs apart. Peter cleared his throat, shaking off his surprise, and nodded. "We're ready, Mistress Violet," he said. "Good," Mistress Violet said. "At 3 p.m. today, you will go to Mistress Madeline's studio. I hoped you'd accept my offer to help, so I sent some training materials to her overnight. She's expecting both of you at 3. You will pick up the package there, your starter kit, let's say, and go through what's inside together. From now on, think of Iron and Ivy as part of the Hellfire Club support in Austin. It's like our office here. You will need to dress to show your role as a Hellfire member. Master Peter hasn't given you a collar yet, and he may prefer another sign of your role, but Mistress Madeline will have a collar for you to wear while you're at her studio. Unless Mistress Madeline tells you something else, be prepared to be without clothes there." I looked at Peter. He was already nodding like a good student. I swallowed my shame and forced myself to pay attention. This was important. "Yes, mistress. I understand." "There are items and instructions in that kit you'll need to start using first thing tomorrow morning," Violet said. "I want you to look over everything in the package carefully tonight. Read all the papers included. There will be some printouts and a journal for each of you. There's also a flash drive with some videos." She looked right at me. "One video is a guided yoga routine I want you to do every day. The woman showing the yoga is a close friend and has been with Hellfire for a long time. I want you to follow her every morning, okay? She will teach you the poses and graceful movements needed for any Hellfire member. She will also share some sayings to help you get into the right mindset. Remember, you are a worthy person, and by choosing to follow your master, you will find your own freedom." Her voice was softer now. I hoped she was right. "Yes, mistress," I said quickly, curious and a little nervous about what slave yoga really meant. I loved yoga already. I had found long ago that a good yoga flow was the best way to quiet the thoughts in my head. I felt proud. Maybe I couldn't win Peter back by working harder at my role, but I was good at yoga. If this was what I thought, I would be putting on quite a morning show for Peter. Violet then turned to Peter. Master Peter, I am also sending you some homework, meditations and journal prompts. You will both write every day. You'll share those writings with me when I ask, she said. The details are in the kit. She gave a small, knowing smile. Think of it as a kind of therapy, but with a twist. Everything you go through in this training you will think about and write down. Being honest in your journals is very important. I should also say this to both of you. Even though I no longer have my license in New York, I will keep everything we talk about in these calls and your writings secret. I won't share them with anyone without your permission. That includes the archivist, who you will meet if you come to New York City for official membership in the club. Peter sat up straighter. Understood, Violet, he said. He was a good writer, even though most of what he wrote now was about patents. I hoped he would let me read some of it someday. Very good, Violet said. She looked away from the screen for a moment, probably checking the time. Then her eyes came back to us, sharp and focused. Peter, I will be sending you a package with some extra materials that I think will help based on today's talk. Please open it as soon as you get it. Yes, of course, Peter said. Violet's voice softened as she spoke to both of us. I want you to know I am truly looking forward to working with you two. Today has been a lot, I know, and this is just the start. But I really believe there is a lot of good ahead. It's clear you both care about each other enough to take this unusual path, and that is something very special. Her warm smile made her face kinder. I wish you the best as we start this journey together. Remember, you are not alone. I am here with you every step, no matter how hard it gets. Understand? I felt warm inside again, this time from gratitude. Peter gave my hand a reassuring squeeze. Thank you, mistress, I said, my voice soft but honest. We won't forget this. Thank you, Mistress Violet, Peter said quietly. Truly. Mistress Violet nodded with calm grace. You're very welcome. We will talk again very soon. Now, he'll let you go so you can get ready. Take some time to breathe and think about everything. I'm sure you both have a lot on your minds. She gave one last nod. Until next time, Master Peter. And until next time, slave. Until next time, Peter said softly. I bowed my head quietly, feeling the weight of her words. Then Mistress Violet's image disappeared from the screen. The call ended, and the TV went black. For a long moment, neither of us moved or spoke. We sat on the couch, both stunned by the day's events. The living room was very quiet after the tense phone call. I let out a shaky breath I didn't know I was holding. Finally, Peter moved. He put down the robe he had been holding and looked at me. His eyes slowly looked over my face, then down my body. Without saying a word, he turned to face me fully and reached out to take both my hands. I turned to face him. Trying something new, I put my legs around him. He pulled me close, one hand around my waist and the other behind my neck. He kissed me. For a few moments, we kissed softly on the couch like young kids. He didn't try to take off his clothes, and I did not try either. We just kissed. When he stopped to breathe, I moved to sit on his lap, wrapping my arms and legs around him. I held him close and felt his heart beating strong. He hugged me back. The unease from last night seemed to have faded, or at least was under control now. It felt wonderful to be held like that. After a while, Peter spoke quietly. Daphne, how are you feeling? I gave a small smile. Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a mix of things, I said, laughing softly. Overwhelm, relief, fear, embarrassment. My smile shook a little. Shame, hope? Saying that last word softly felt strange, but it was true. Peter's eyes softened. I'm hopeful too, he said gently. He leaned in and kissed my forehead, then the tip of my nose. I closed my eyes, enjoying the kind moment. We should get ready to go, he said, his voice a little tight. He stood up and fixed his shirt, which had gotten a bit messy. I slid off the couch, knelt down, and slipped on my shoes. When I stood, Peter headed down the hallway toward our bedroom. I guessed he was going to change or get something. I stood there for a moment, unsure what to do. The words from the call kept running through my mind in a jumble. Mistress Violet had said, "You have no husband, only a master. If things go back to how they were, You will cheat again. I will help you set yourself free. It was a lot to think about. I took a deep breath, trying to clear my busy mind. My eyes landed on the coffee table and then the sofa, where a faint shine caught my eye. I felt a little blush rise to my neck. What a sight I must have been. Part of me still found it hard to believe what I had done, but a deeper part, one that was calm and accepting, felt proud that I had done what was asked without hesitation. I snapped back to the present when I heard Peter coming back. He had something dark hanging over his arm. As he got closer, I saw it was a dress from the bedroom closet. It was a short black dress that I owned, a very tight-fitting one with thin straps. It was the kind of dress I wore for date nights when I wanted to impress Peter. Sometimes he would pick it for me when I asked which dress to wear, and I hoped he would always choose this one. I hadn't worn it for Peter in a long time. Honestly, I had packed it for New York and wore it for Whitmore, but it would feel good to wear it for Peter again, to make it mine once more. He held it out to me. I understood what he meant. I would wear this to see Madeline. He wanted me to look nice and wanted to show me off. I smiled and took the dress from him. After all I had just been through, this tight dress felt calm and safe. You were amazing today, he said quietly, his voice slow and serious. Mistress Violet was right. You did very well. I'm proud of you, Daphne. My heart skipped a beat. A small, real smile appeared on my lips. Maybe for the first time since our new life started, I felt good about myself. Thank you, sir, I whispered. The word came out easily, full of respect. I won't let you down. Not again, I added. I noticed he had already loosened the zipper on the dress. Without any more words, I slipped it over my head, pulling it down over me. The black fabric held tight around my body, fitting every curve. It pressed lightly against my chest and hips. When it brushed over a sore spot, I felt a little sting, a reminder to be more careful. The dress was short, barely covering my bottom. I smoothed it out and gave a slow twirl in my shoes, knowing Peter would want to see. He hadn't given me any underwear. His eyes moved over me quietly. The dress was backless and low in the front. The thin fabric showed my shape clearly, almost like I wasn't wearing anything. Even though I was dressed, I felt very open and exposed. Peter swallowed, his voice quiet but full of feeling. Wow, he said softly. It felt a little funny. I was wearing this beautiful dress, but really I only needed it for the very short walk from the parking lot behind Madeline's studio to the door. Once inside, I expected to change again. I wondered if Peter would let me spend time with Madeline again. What were these thoughts? What was I becoming? What would I be like after 5 months? I was both weak and obedient. I had begged Peter to accept me this way so he would take me back, and so one day I could be his wife again. Was that even possible? Would he want someone like me as his wife? To come to his work party? To have children with him? To spend his life together? What would I do if he didn't? Peter gently touched the back of my hand. Ready? I shook off my thoughts, took a deep breath, and nodded. Ready. As I got into the car, I adjusted my skirt and buckled my seatbelt without pulling it tight. Peter looked over and smiled quietly. He put the car in reverse and began to drive.